Hey guys, this is Chelsea Joy, and this is going to be your 45-minute shoulder focused practice for mandala tree today. So we're going to get started with a towel first of all. So just make sure you have a hand towel. This is actually a very big hand towel. I think it's actually a bath mat, which I accidentally grabbed, but in the end it worked out really well because we want a towel that's a bit wider than shoulder width distance. So that's about my shoulders here. And we want to be a little bit wider than that. So if you have a really flimsy bath towel, then please grab that. Try to not grab a full bath towel for the whole body, because that's going to be too much towel to deal with today. So try to grab a smaller one. So what we're going to get started with today is standing up, just with your bath towel here. We're going to stand about so that's about hip width. We're going to stand a little bit wider than hip width. If you're on your mat, you want your feet to be just on the outsides of your mat. We're going to come all the way down, actually about halfway. So just come down halfway, and we're just going to bring the bath towel over the lower portion of our back, so over our lumbar. Make sure that your palms are faced toward the ceiling. We're going to grab onto the edges of that bath towel and taking a big breath in, allowing ourselves to fold all the way over towards the floor, bringing those arms up overhead, letting your head go, just shaking yes and no with your head a few times. If you've been sitting at a desk all day, this might already feel a bit intense to do. But what we want to do just to get started is allow the arms to hang heavy overhead. Now, if your range isn't so much today, if it isn't so open today, if you're about here, that's completely fine. It's not about what it looks like, it's just about how it feels. So we just want to make sure that wherever we're at, we're allowing our arms to come towards the ground in front of us. We're just going to start rocking back and forth, side to side. We're going to start with our toes pointing forward, legs straight, so make sure your knees are not bent to start with, and just rock side to side. Breathing in, and breathing out. Just allow us to be fluid. It doesn't need to be some rigid kind of dynamic. It's just a beautiful feminine fluidity here. Just see how your body's feeling today. And slowly start to bend one knee and bend the other. Just walking it out. You might feel this in the hamstrings a little bit, which is really nice. And as time goes on, as you take your breaths in and your breaths out, just bring your one hand, say your right hand, over to your right foot. You can bend that right knee and then come all the way over to the other side. See how that feels. Breathing into it, big breath in and big breath out. So as your hand goes over to your left foot, you're going to have a beautiful opening in your right shoulder, and hopefully a beautiful opening in your right hamstring too. So right hand to right foot, all the way over, breathing into it, and then all the way over on the other side. Let's do that a few times, really nice and slow, remembering to let the head go. So if you at any point find your head is really tense up to your shoulders, just remind it that it's okay to let go by just shaking yes and no a few times. Huge breath into the belly and all the way out. Now again, if you don't have the range, don't feel self-conscious about this. Even if you're here, and even if your arms only go up this much, that's okay. You just want a little gentle bend. We just want as much of an opening as feels comfortable for us today. So we're going to do that a few more times, say 4 more times on each side. And this time I want us to really do a nice big bend if you have the range. So if it feels right for you, you can even make your stance a little bit wider. And then bring that right hand to the ground or to the foot, whichever feels nicer, and bend into it. Same on the other side. Bring that left hand to the right foot, breathing in, all the way out. Now coming just up halfway, draping the towel over the lower back, and then just making sure the palms now are faced towards the ground. Palms toward the ground now. So we're gonna do the same thing, but you're gonna feel it in a slightly different place in your shoulders. For me, this always feels a little more intense. Oof, yes. Can feel that one in my right shoulder. I'm curious to know if you guys can feel that in your right shoulder as well. If we're right-handed, we'll often feel it more in that shoulder and that arm, because we carry more tension there from utilizing it more often. All right, so we're gonna do the same on both sides. So this time you might find that you can come a little closer to the ground. So we're gonna come and bring our left hand to the left side of the floor, right hand to the right side of the floor. Okay, we just want this fluid movement. Don't be too rigid about it. And finally coming back to center and bringing the arms all the way up overhead and all the way to the ground. Bending the knees, dropping the towel in front of you, and bringing the hands all the way to the ground, dropping the head to the floor, keeping those knees bent. It's almost like we're going to go into a headstand, but not quite. So just breathing in, allowing your head to be really heavy. I know I have pretty bad neck problems, so for me this always feels really good. And if you find that you have some neck issues, definitely do this and just allow your head to hang nice and heavy, because it's going to create that beautiful space in your neck. It's going to feel very liberating. All right, so now we're going to place our hands over our feet and just hang. Again, making sure our knees are bent. Excellent. And then stay where you are. I'm just going to face towards you guys. So we're going to come all the way down into a little yogi squat. And make sure you have your towel. So by the way, if you can't get your heels to the ground today, that's okay. You can either use 2 more towels bundled up together. I should say bundled up but individually, so you're rolling them up and then putting them under your heels, and that can be a nice stabilizer for you if you can't get your heels to the ground. Or you can use a big pillow as well and just place it under you on top of the mat. So see how you feel today. We always feel a little more open one day to the next. So grabbing the towel just in front of us, bringing it all the way up overhead. You might need to adjust your hands like me. Beautiful. And feel free to adjust your squat as well. I typically will go back and forth a few times just to make sure I feel stable. Bringing the arms up all the way overhead. Closing the eyes if that feels nice. Big breath in. Allowing the arms to go as far back as possible. This can feel a bit vulnerable, and that's okay. Breathing all the way out, bringing the arms down, dropping the towel, and just plopping down. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring the feet out all the way into a beautiful V position here. And adjust my leggings. We're just gonna make sure, first of all, that our heels are walked away from us. So number one thing I like to do, this is probably one of my favorite positions in yin. There's so many things you can do with a nice V-leg pose. In so many ways it feels good. But we do want to make sure our heels are walked out, because when you walk them out and you point your toes toward the ceiling, you're going to feel this beautiful long line of energy all the way from your hamstrings all the way into your calves, which is really nice. All right, and again, so palms face down. We're going to bring that towel all the way up to the ceiling. Huge breath in here. Big breath out. Feel free to close your eyes like me.
And just to start, we're gonna roll our head all the way back, keeping those arms up overhead. This time I want us to imagine that our spines are growing really nice and tall. So imagine that your foundation is where your sit bones are, and imagine that your spine is growing tall, 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 just like a tree, so it's stabilizing you. And imagine that your arms now are the branches of the tree, and your arms are allowed to sway. So your back's stable, sit bones stable, legs stable, those are your foundations, and we're just swaying back and forth like a tree now. Grab onto the very edges of that towel if it's about the same width as mine, length as mine. Bring that towel back, and then big breath in again. We're gonna bring that right hand all the way over to our right foot. Now, if you have the range, you can just place that right hand on top of that right foot. You can even grab on to the big toe with your pinky finger, and then just bringing that wingspan all the way up and open. If you don't have that range today, that's okay. Instead, say if you're here, we just want to do that same thing in midair. So wherever you're at today, no matter where it is, I just want you to imagine that you're opening up that left arm completely. Now, you can feel free to close your eyes here. We're going to be here for a few minutes, a couple minutes. But what I wanted to mention while we're here is that the beauty of using a towel like this, say if we're just here and the teacher encourages you to open your wingspan, you might go, okay, well that feels about right. But it might not be to where your maximum is. If you use a towel and you really use your arm strength and your bicep strength, you can really feel acutely where your maximum is in that position, I find. Feel free to rest your head on your shoulder if that is in your range today. And we're just gonna settle here for about a minute. Make sure that you're twisting from your center. So twisting, imagine that you're twisting just from your colon. It's a really nice feeling. There's so many benefits of twists. Amazing. But just here, we want to really focus on that balance between effort and ease. No matter where we're at, even if it's here, just focusing on that balance. And if it gets too much for you at any point, you can drop your arms for a moment, take a deep breath, and come back into it. There's no harm in that. Couple more breaths here, big breaths into the belly. Slowly coming all the way back to center. Bringing the towel all the way back up overhead. Growing tall again like a tree, remembering your stable base, remembering the toes pointed towards the ceiling, the heels walked out. Looking towards the sky. Huge expansive breath in from the ribs, all the way out. Just really folding your head back, not holding any tension. 2 more breaths like that. Just for a moment, looking back to center and bringing those hands out as far as you can, as far back as you can. Big breath in. And slowly bringing that left hand all the way to the left foot. We will feel a little different on one side to the other. I know that often, if we're dominant on our right side, we're going to feel tighter on that side. If you're left-handed, it might have felt more intense on that side. If you're right-handed, it might feel more intense on this side because we're opening up our dominant side if we're right-handed. All right, and feel free to grab that little finger around that big toe, opening up the wingspan. Big breath in, slow breath out. Closing down the eyes. Remembering with every exhale, we can allow our body to move a little bit more into this, so allowing that twist to happen a little bit more. Again, if you're up here, that's okay. Just bringing yourself back as much as is in your range today. It's always different for us all at different days. And you might feel, as time goes on in this pose, that you can adjust in different ways. It just feels good for your body. It's just about listening to your body. Slowly coming all the way back up to center. And then we're just going to drape the towel over our shoulders and shaking out our hands. Feel free to close your eyes and shake out those hands. Shake out the fingers. Bring some life back into the hands. All right, so keeping the towel draped around our shoulders, what we're going to do here is just pull the edges of the towel forward. So you're pulling your hands forward and bring your head backwards. So if you have a funky neck like I do, this is probably going to feel really nice. If this doesn't feel nice, ease off of it, but it should feel quite nice. You're basically, if your towel's thick enough, you're going to be able to rest your head back onto your towel. Now bring those arms forward towards the sky, and then again just rest your head back. So we don't want any holding tension in the neck or the shoulders. We just want that to be completely relaxed, and the only thing we're using is our bicep strength. And we're just going to come back and forth. So you're using the hands almost like we're driving a car. Just a few times. We won't be here for too long. Seeing how that feels on your neck. And then dropping the towel. Oh, goodness. Kind of like getting a very, very gentle massage on the neck area. If you have a skinnier towel than I do, and you can really allow that to frame the bottom of your cranium, that feels really nice as well. And just allowing that to give a little, very gentle massage under your neck if you have those neck issues. So, beautiful. In saying that, we're gonna allow that towel to just come in front of us. Just make sure it's again in your range. And we're gonna bring the feet all the way together. For some reason these shoulder openers make me really relaxed and I forget my words, so apologies in advance if I mess up sometimes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drape our towel over our feet, around the undersides of our feet. Just going to come back a little. And again, removing the cushions, back and forth, making sure your sit bones are nice and firm on the ground, feeling that nice foundation. And coming up nice and straight, Imagine that your spine is growing tall like a tree. Big breath in, looking towards the sky, breathing out. One breath here. And slowly coming all the way forward, only using the bicep strength, not using the neck muscles. I have to remind myself. I tend to like to do this. And yoga's been a really good reminder for me to just let go of that neck tension and just use the minor bicep strength. Coming all the way forward. Now, of course, if you do have the range and you can just simply grab your feet, feel free to do that. But for those of us who don't have the range to go as far forward towards our feet, just grab the edges of that towel wherever you're at. Even if it's here, that's completely fine. It's just about having that energetic pull towards your feet. Just using your bicep strength, relaxing the shoulders. And over time, I promise that with every exhale, you'll find yourself slowly being able to move a little bit deeper incrementally into this pose. And then you'll finally be able to get to the point where you can come forward and then start to feel that beautiful space opening up in your lower back. Which, if you have back issues like myself, it's such a nice feeling to just open that space in the lower back. Take a big breath in here. Slow breath out. Feel free to use a pillow if necessary. You can always grab a pillow and put it underneath you and drape your head on it, however feels nice. If that tension creeps back into your shoulders, feel free just to go, it's okay, you don't need to be there, tension. You can drop away. I'm safe. With each exhale, we can always move a little bit deeper into this. Slowly, slowly coming all the way back up to center. So nice. All right, now we're gonna grab onto the towel. That's the word, towel. We're gonna grab onto the towel again. This time we're gonna come into a butterfly, so pads of our feet together. Now, if you have if you have open range in your hips, you don't need to use the towel and you can simply grab onto your feet and come down. Now this is really good. I'm going to show you guys for those of us who don't have the range today. What we're going to do is, again, just put our pads of our feet together and we're going to string the towel. Mine's a little bit short, but that's okay. We're going to string the towel around, so underside of one leg, kind of around our ankle, and then around the feet, and then coming in. So this is a really nice way to get into butterfly if the range isn't there for you today. And you can feel free to rest your forearms on your thighs, and feel free, I don't have a proper mat today, so feel free to put a pillow underneath your feet like I'm doing at the moment. And then slowly, again, this is only if you don't have that full range. Today, we're gonna use only our bicep strength, not our shoulders. Use the bicep strength to come down, all the way down. Just to where you are at today, even if it's here, no matter where it is. And you can just grab that towel to bring yourself a little bit closer. No matter where you're at, we're going to just rest our head. Feel free to grab a bolster if you'd like. Put it in front of you or on top of your feet and rest your head if that feels good. But we are going to relax here for a few minutes. So get comfy.
Big breath into the belly. Slow breath out. And let's take 3 big butterfly breaths, meaning our ribs expand outward. So imagine the sides of your ribs as you breathe in, expand outward, slowly contracting. As you breathe out, you can even place, if you want, your hands on top of the outside of your ribs. And as you breathe in, actually feel them coming outward. And contracting. And returning to our normal breath, staying in this butterfly. Slowly, slowly, when you're ready, start to make your way all the way back up to center. Lovely. All right. Now, I'll move to this side to show you guys that you can stay straight on your mat. I'm gonna put the pillow underneath actually. All right.
So again, using our towel this time, yet again, we're gonna drape the towel over our lower back. I'm actually gonna put this in front of me. You don't need to use a pillow in front of you. I'm just using it because I don't have my mat. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna, we're gonna take our, I think which way we're going. We're gonna take our hands and palms down, grab onto that awesome little piece of yoga furniture we have, aka our towel, and come all the way down. So rest one side of your head down. It can be your right or your left cheek. And bring your bum, your tailbone, as close to your feet as possible. For me, my range is not there lately. That's okay. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And we're gonna just bring that towel overhead. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Just bring the hands one side to the other. One side to the other. And just really quickly, we're going to rest that on our rest the towel on our lower back again. Just for a moment, bring your arms just to neutral. Wiggle back and forth a few times here, just to make sure you feel nice and grounded, nice foundation. And this time we're gonna bring the palms up to the ceiling. And then come all the way forward again. So all the way overhead. The range will feel different on this side. But we're gonna do right to left, and try to get your hands to the ground. If not, that's okay. See how you go. Beautiful. And then, when you're ready, we're gonna drape that towel underneath the top part of our feet and still grab onto the towel at the edges. Coming back into the child's pose. And then we're going to actually tie, not completely tie, but we're gonna twist so the edges of the towel are coming out at opposite directions. Still on the outsides, still on the tops of our feet. But this time we're actually going to pull outward. So pulling outward, so it's making our feet come together a little bit. And then we're gonna come up in Bikram yoga, what they call rabbit pose. So your knees can be together here. And you're gonna arch your upper back. Arch it, arch it, arch it. This is a bit of a modified rabbit. We're arching our back and we want our head to be almost crunching in towards our knees. In traditional Bikram, the Bikram yogis have their heads like between their knees. I can't quite do that, and most normal human beings have a hard time doing that. But if you can, that's awesome. And if you can't, that's cool too. But just pulling your hands away from each other and arching your upper back. Just take 3 big breaths in here. Beautiful, and then relaxing. It's a bit like a modified cat-cow in a way, a bit more intense. But I feel like it feels quite nice, so I hope you guys do too. And then pressing your arms into the ground, wiggling back and forth a couple times. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And then coming all the way back up. Feels so nice. Alrighty. Oh, I feel so relaxed. I hope you guys do too. All right, so coming onto our mat, we're actually going to lie on our backs. Boop. Alrighty. All right, coming all the way down. Moving outward. All right, and just making sure again you have that towel near you. Mine's gotten a little bit messed up. And maybe here, if you want to ring the towel around itself so it's nice and whatever that's called, nice and rung up. And you're gonna bring those arms all the way out overhead, all the way out overhead, and you're gonna stretch as much as you can. And I want you to imagine that your arm, that someone's pulling that towel away from you, really far away from you. Big breath in here. Slow breath out. Another huge breath in. Slow breath out. Beautiful. Then bring your knees up. All the way towards your chest. And then just string that towel around your feet here. Now again, this is one where if you do have the range and you can grab onto your feet as they're in butterfly, as say the pads of your feet are together, that's completely fine. But if you don't have the range, if say you're like here or it feels a bit awkward, then the towel's really helpful because you can use the towel to pull your feet towards you, which is really good. I'm just gonna stay here. All right, now what I want us to do here is just roll back and forth wherever you are, whether you have your hands on your feet, whether you're using the towel, roll back and forth, side to side. Really, really slowly, really gently. Breathing in as you venture to one side, breathing out as you venture to the other. Now we're going to start doing little, very, very minor figure eights. So almost imagine you're drawing a figure eight with your feet, and that's going to allow the rest of your legs and lower body to follow suit. Again, just using the bicep strength instead of the shoulders. I felt I was using the shoulders for a moment, so I had to remind myself too. Figure eight back and forth, just really gently. Big breath in, slow breath out. And gently bringing the feet all the way up towards the sky into this lovely waterfall, grabbing onto the sides of the towel, and bringing those legs further overhead. And bringing the feet closer to you. Just using your bicep strength. And if you do have the range to just use your hands, that's great as well. But I actually quite like using the towel even though I do have the range. It's quite nice, and for me it's a different feeling, so maybe it's good for you as well. So bringing those feet overhead. Waterfall, as I mentioned in one of the other videos for Mandala Tree, is an amazing, amazing way to improve circulation because the blood is allowed to flow back into our cavity, our chest cavity, because generally it pools back down into our feet, which is why we can get, it can exacerbate varicose veins and spider veins and circulatory issues in our feet. So this is a really nice way just to allow that blood to come back into our heart space. And it just feels really nice, and it is a good way to quiet your kids down at the end of the night as well, if you want them to go to sleep faster. Just tell them to do this for 5 minutes, and I promise they'll be asleep within 15. All right.
And again, just really gently taking one more breath in and bringing those feet, making sure the knees aren't bent. If this feels uncomfortable, you can bend the knees, but I would encourage you, if you do have the range, to keep them straight. Bring them closer to you for 2 breaths here. All the way out. Another big breath in. Beautiful. And letting the towel go. And coming into Shavasana. This is our final Shavasana. If you're cold, I know in Australia at the moment it's quite chilly, so feel free to grab a blanket if you have one. Also feel free to grab your bolster and put it just under your legs if that feels nice for you. Under your knees. And let's just quickly link our fingers together, our thumbs. And again, bring our hands all the way up overhead. And I just want us to do a really big stretch up. We've worked a lot on our shoulders today. So just do a nice big stretch. And then allow your hands to fall wherever they may. And let's just imagine that we have all different amazing parts of our body that allow us to function. Imagine all of these parts are simply dropping into the earth, melting into your mat, melting into the earth. Everything from the tips of your fingers, pads of your hands, the undersides of your glutes and your lower back, your upper back and your shoulders, and the back of your head. Anywhere you feel warmth is simply melting into the mat. Let's take a few big butterfly breaths in here. So the butterfly breaths being starting from your tummy, allowing your tummy to expand on the inhale, and second part allowing the ribs to expand outward. Breathing in. Breathing out. And if you feel any tension in your face, just allowing that to melt away, allowing your eyebrows to go nice and soft, allowing around the corners of your eyes to go nice and soft, the cheeks, the jaw, the mouth, the chin, everything just melts and softens. If you feel any tension in the forehead, Any slight furrowing in the forehead, simply release that and soften. When you're ready, take a big breath in all together. And sigh it all out. And then when you're ready, you can bring your knees all the way up to your chest. Move all the way to your right side into this really gentle twist. And make your way all the way back up to seated. Goodness gracious. Alrighty. So if you'd like to sit in a cross-legged position or half lotus or full lotus or whatever position feels nice, or butterfly, I'm just going to sit in a simple cross leg. Taking a deep breath in, relaxing the shoulders. Thank you everybody for joining me today for this 45-minute shoulder-focused yin practice for Mandala Tree today. I appreciate your energy in joining me, and I want to say namaste and have a fantastic rest of your week.